I'll bet you guys, I mean, Corey brings such great energy and I'm here to put you right back to sleep. So just excited about that. Um, who's been following any of the news and knows about the lawsuit that went to trial yesterday? Amber does. Yeah, Rob's heard about it. Guys, this is your career. You might want to have some knowledge about it. But anyway, right now I believe it's the Sitzer case. It's basically the state of Missouri. It's in Kansas City where it's happening. And it's where some sellers have gotten together. They have received class action status, meaning that if you sold a property in Kansas as a buyer or a seller, you may, if NAR loses the case, KW and Home Services of America right now are named also as co-defendants. So if that case gets lost, they believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20, I'm sorry, $5 to $10 billion on this particular case. It could be a very expensive case. And you could see bankruptcies, you could see businesses going away. With treble damages, that goes up to a whole lot more. Then there's also a national case. It's the Morrill case, Mohrel or something like that, but it's pronounced Morrill. That case is coming up. Just wanted to make you aware of it. In a nutshell, we've talked about it a couple of times. I want to make sure we review it with you because you want to make sure that you know how stuff works. Who here shows homes to buyers without signing a buyer broker? Some of you will raise your hands and do that. How many have done it? I'll bet you every hand goes up for that, right? May I recommend that you actually get a buyer broker and explain to your buyers what they're doing? Right now, this is not something that has been broadcast, but what is the minimum commission that you can do on a listing? What's the minimum? What would you like it to be? I would love it to be 3 or more. I would love that. What are you seeing out there? Seeing 2, 2.5? You seeing less than 2? There's some. Okay. What's the lowest you've seen? I've seen $1. So $1. Anybody seen something less than $1? Just curious. I have seen $1. So if it's $1, what's the answer to that? How do you get paid? It's your buyer broker, right? Your buyer broker agreement will get you there. You need to have one in place and say, buyer, I work for, and I'm using me, I work for 3%. We can negotiate that if the buyer agency commission isn't there if you're buying a listed property. But if we're paying full market value for a property, you shouldn't have to come to the table with those dollars. We're going to ask the seller, we're going to ask the listing brokerage to contribute, toward that. And that's in a BAC because it's not the seller, it's the listing brokerage. Does that make sense? Everybody in their pooch in their head is saying the seller's paying this. I contest. Nothing happens until the buyer writes an offer. Buyers bring the money to the table. Sellers don't have any equity until a buyer actually purchases that property. And so the buyers are bringing it. What this case is doing and what they're saying is buyer agents should be paid separately and not paid by the listing brokerage or by a seller. Because look at our addendum. In fact, it's been years. Utah is leaps and bounds ahead. How many here have a broker that will pay you if you don't have a buyer broker in place? And there better not be a hand go up because I won't. Okay? Because that determines agency. If you look at section 5 of your REPC, what is the word? What is it called? What's section 5 of the REPC? Say it nice and loud, Amber. Yeah, confirmation of agency. It confirms that you have buyer agency, that the listing agent has listing agency, and it confirms it in that agreement. And so sometimes agents will go, oh, if I write the REPC, then I've established agency. Nope, you didn't establish agency. You're just confirming it. And so I want to make sure we're really clear on that. Utah's one of, I want to say 15 states that requires a buyer broker agreement. You go to the state of California, you go to other states, you don't even have to have agency. You just write a REPC up. Is that weird? I think that's crazy town, but that's because I've only done real estate in Utah, but we require that. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of the cases because they're there. If CoStar has their way, they'll get rid of the buyer agent. Their whole thing, think Zillow leads, okay? CoStar wants to sell to buyers, but what they'll do is they will sell leads only to listing agents. But those will be $5,000 to $10,000 because they want more dollars in their pockets. And so they do that by getting rid of the buyer agent. Yeah.
You're also creating a problem where now all the buyers are directly going to want to call the listing agent.
Yep. You're creating a situation where, and you have it even today, you'll have people will call, the buyer will say, I'm going to call the listing agent and see if I can get a deal. So what's the answer? Who has the answer to that? Somebody calls you the listing agent and you don't want, and they say, I want you to give me 3% back off the price. So who has the answer? Who has the script? Gosh, is it Amber? What's your script? Oh, come on. Amber, I want a discount because I'm coming to you, the listing agent. What do you say to that buyer?
Yeah, thanks, but no, I don't work that way. The listing agreement is between me and the seller, and what we've agreed to is between us.
Did you get that? That listing agreement is between me and the seller, and it's not negotiable, and it's not up for negotiation. In fact, if you write an offer that way, I'll present it, whatever offer you want, I'll present to the seller. But I promise you, when I'm talking with the seller, I'm say, hey, seller, we have an agreement in place. The buyer actually wants you to give them 3% of your equity over and above what we've already agreed to. Are you good with that? Now, I might agree to do something different with that commission if there's an unrepresented buyer. But we're one of the weird brokerages. Sorry, you have the weird broker in the state. I won't allow dual agency. I won't allow you to represent a buyer and a seller on the same transaction. And the reason why I won't do it is because you cannot give a full fiduciary representation to both parties. You can't. If Renell, yeah, even if they have me do it, I'm going to have them sign an unrepresented buyer document before I show them the property. Because I will not represent them. If you tell me that you'll pay twice, I'm going to tell the seller. I'm not a tattler, but I'm going to represent my seller. And so I'm going to encourage you to do that. And then I do have agents that will come to me and say, but Dean, I want to represent both parties. What do I say? Because I have a clause that I would just have you add to your buyer broker agreement. If you fall in love with one of my listings, you will be unrepresented for that particular property. Really easy. Sign an unrepresented buyer document. I'm not going to jerk you around. I wouldn't do it anyway. I've done it. I have done dual agency in the past, and it was awful. Because you have a seller saying, boy, you sure had the buyer's back. And you have a buyer saying, boy, you should took care of your seller. And I'm saying, yeah, remember when I discounted the total brokerage fees, seller, buyer, so that we could make this deal happen? And they go, oh yeah, that's right. It's just, they only see their own interests. Represent one of your clients on that one. Okay, anyway, just wanted to talk to you about the suit. I have a couple of things I wanted to bring up. Video. Talked about some of this today. Clay stole some of my thunder, and I'm delighted that he did it in our boot camp. First of all, what is a natural law before we even get to it? Gravity is a natural law. If I were to hold this piece of paper, let go of it, what would your expectation be? That it would fall. It would go south, not north. Okay, important. So natural laws. Let's look at the first natural law. There are things over which we have control, and we act as if we don't. There are things over which we have control, and yet we act and behave in ways that we think we don't. So I'd like to give you an example. If I were to offer you a sum of money, what would you consider to be a significant sum? I heard $1 million. Anybody more than $1 million? Do I hear two? All right, who said 5? Okay, I'm not going to pick on Amber, but who'd like to do an exercise with me really quick? I know this is exciting. Come on, do it. Come on up, James. Everybody give a hand to James. Yay. Never trust somebody that has two given names. James Douglas is in the house. I'm teasing. I went to school with a guy named Harry Ralph. That was his dad joke. Don't trust somebody with two given names. James, there's $2 million, $5 million on the line. Is that of interest to you?
Definitely.
Okay, definitely. James, do you know where the state capitol building is?
Salt Lake?
It's in Salt Lake, but do you know where it is? Have you been there?
Yes.
Okay. On the state capitol building, now this is because there are accountants and people that think that Novalee's in here too, thinking about this stuff. This would be tax-free money. Is that a little better for you?
That's way better.
It's only 5 million though. Okay. On my watch, looks like it's 17 minutes before the top of the hour. You have to get there before 2 p.m. Can you get there before 2 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. This is a matter of control. There are things over which we have control, but we act as if we don't. So would you tell everybody, please, how you're going to get there?
I'm going to get in my car and then I'm going to drive there and then I'm going to find a
So,
place to park
Which path?
on the freeway.
Oh, into Interstate 15?
Yes.
Okay. I-15, you hit the point of the mountain and you just pass the Thanksgiving Point exit and it turns into a parking lot. Are you going to get there by 2?
Yes. I'm going to get off the exit.
No. You just passed the exit
Oh.
and now it's stopped. It is stopped. Parking lot. And you happen to be in the number 3 lane. So you have HOA, the fast lane, and then number 3 lane. So you're in a parking lot. It is literally stopped. There was a tanker truck that spilled over and it's all across the road. It's going to be probably 5, 6 p.m. before you can get away. Are you going to get there by 2?
Yes.
What's your plan?
So I'm going to call someone to get in my car and I'm going to walk to get on the train or have them drop me by the train off the exit. So I'm going to leave my car probably,
Okay.
have them get in the car. I might have to pay them off, but I'm just to
Okay.
sit in my car. We're going to switch in essence,
Okay.
or I can get on the train, drive to the track station and get
Okay.
in Salt Lake.
So front runner train?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. I will stop there, but thank you so much, James. Give me a hand. When you heard parking lot, Interstate 15, which of course that never happens. This isn't LA. Did some of you did your mind kind of go to, I can't get there now? Did some of you have that experience? What would be some other fun ways to get your body to the Capitol building in time? Hire a helicopter.
Like, you can take a heart attack.
Where they get it? So I heard life flight, the heart attack, where would they take you? They take you to a hospital and they may check you in. I think that there are psychiatric units. Okay. What else might we do? Okay. You could hire someone's motorcycle. You're going to drive between the cars, and maybe even consider going backwards to get off the exit, take the frontage road up. Guys, it's amazing when your mind start working that you'll make it happen, and it can. But there are things over which we have control, but we act as if we don't. So here's the corollary. There are things over which we do not have control, and we act as if we do. So what are some of those things? Give me some examples. I heard the word marriage. Teenagers, yeah. Moods and reactions of our clients. What else? Time. Don't have control over, but we have we do have control over time and what we're going to do with it. But we act as if we have control. Here's the simple and easy answer, right? Anything outside of us, we don't have that control and all that. So let's take a look at some stuff here. This morning when I was running my numbers, so it has today's date, there were a total of 9,556 listings. Now that can change by the minute because the MLS updates all the time. In Utah County, we have 1,978. There are 1096 under contract, 500 sold in the last 30 days, and we have just shy of 4 months of inventory in the county. So that's Utah County. This should look familiar to you, right? Does this graphic look a little familiar to you guys? If it does, that means you've been reading my silly newsletter that I send out every weekend, right? Every Friday morning, roughly at 8 o'clock, you should get that in your email. If you followed Clay's example, you won't see it till about 1 o'clock. Okay. So what can you control? Do you have control of those stats that I just shared? These stats here, do you have control over those? Say it again.
Susie does.
Susie's killing it. So Susie has some control. Now we can control some facets of it, right? And we can, and so this, I'm going to go back just a step. Hang on a sec here. In here, there's a third natural law. We can exercise influence where we have control and where we don't have control. We can exercise some influence over these statistics, but it doesn't mean we have total control, but we have some control, right? So if we had the wall over here, when you were born, you were Velcroed against that wall, you had zero control, right? If mama not feeding you, dad's not feeding you, you're not making it through your first year, right? But as soon as we get unvelcroed from that wall, we start to run to the wall of total control. We want complete control, right? And that should be the natural state of us. As fun as our children are, we don't want them living with us until they're old people like I am. Okay. We want them out and on their own, making things happen. But so so what's our role as licensed agents then? I'm going to try and move this down out of the way. Thanks for playing. What's our role? Yeah, Renelle. So we're going to work on the things that we can control. What else? Yeah, Cameron.
Be that sort of choice, help control the narrative for your clients, and those that you have.
Great. Being the expert of choice and being able to share the narrative so that we can, again, influence or control what's going on with our clients. Super important because, again, sometimes, as much as we'd like it, I get calls from agents. I need you to talk to this other agent and get them to act a certain way. It's not my role. That's yours. And it's hard. And Novalee took this class from KW, but it's called Fierce Conversations. Fierce Conversations it's a coaching class, but it's not about being fierce, but it's about having the hard conversations, being able to communicate it in such a way that's useful to them. Okay, so before you act, this graphic changed on me because I didn't have a graphic, so thank you, Ritz. Before you act, think. Now the numbers there from January 1 to present, there were 28,337 sales in the state of Utah. Okay, across our MLS. 1,132 of them were conducted in this office. We were either the list side or the buy side, which is just a hair under 4%. It was 3.995%. So 4%. But whatever you're doing, sometimes you want to just rip someone's head off, and it may feel good in the moment. That probably won't work. And sometimes you want to strangle your clients or avoid being strangled by them. But what I'm saying is think before you act. I loved what Angie said when she was talking with her team. She said, before you come to me, before you go to Jeanette, before you go to the broker with your challenge, whatever it is, come with a solution in mind. Part of that action is saying, what am I going to do? How will I perform in that situation? So just asking you to think on that. Anyway, if we have just a little bit of time and we have just a few moments, I want to talk just about a couple of things. 2 quick questions. First one is easy. What time is it? I heard 11:54. No, it's not 11:54. All right, what does your phone say? 11:52. Okay, what is your watch attached to your phone? It's not. What does it say? 11:54. Isn't that funny? Anybody else have a watch that's not attached to a phone? No, and it's funny because my watch is attached to my phone, and so it'll say 11:52 as well. And it's weird. I used to have a watch that was tied to the nuclear clock. I still have it. It's just sitting in my bathroom because I wear this one all the time because it's attached to my phone, which is attached to the nuclear clock. All of our phones are set up on that way. Easy question. What time is it? Using the same words though. We'll just change the order of the words. Time. What is it? This is a time management discussion. That was a bad segue. What is time? It's a little harder. Isn't it funny? Because if I say, hey, what time is it? Everybody does this, or they grab their phone. And it's funny, my go-to is here. Those that are significantly, or I should say, those that are younger than I am, their go-to is their phone. Isn't that funny? If someone asked you what time it is, how many of you just jump to your phone? Yeah, you see, but I'm right here. It's just how we're built and how we've gone through. But if I say time, what is it? It's a harder question to answer. One of the definitions that I like, because it makes sense to me, just that's why it's true, is time is a series of events that happen in sequence. They happen in, if you will, in an order, and but they're events, and you can't speed it up, you can't slow it down, and you can't save it. And so, just want to talk really quickly about time management. Do you know how these principles are? What's bad real estate question? What's the best CRM? Nice and loud. The one you'll use. That's correct. So I don't care what you use. I just wanted to share with you these principles. First of all, to ensure follow-up, and this is follow-up on your first call or the next call. Take notes about today's conversation. So this is the hard part. You have to have a conversation with somebody. Take notes wherever you do it. If it's in your CRM, type it in your CRM. If it's on a sticky note, write on a sticky note that you're going to hand to an assistant. Please put all the data that you need on there, but put it in there, write it down, your contact notes. Agree on a follow-up date. We're going to get together on X date, or I will give you a call on X date to follow up. So this is just, I hope this is simple. This is so ABC. How many of you do this already? Really religiously? Okay, I see some hands. Great. The last one, here's the hard one. Follow up by putting it on a calendar or in your CRM so that it shows up in your life when it needs to. Here's the principle. You're sitting on a beach. You're on vacation. Shoney's just come back from Hawaii. We should be jealous. He might even be darker, and it's awesome. I hope he spent some time on the beach. You can get darker. Bottom line is, he may be sitting on the beach saying, "Oh my gosh, I need to talk to Matt Sumption about something, whatever it is." But he says, "I'm on the beach. I don't want to talk to Matt right now, but I need to talk to him about it 10 days from now." Shoney goes into his calendar, sets a tickler, if you will, call Matt Sumption about X. He can now put away his phone or his note and enjoy the beach. In the same way, I don't care if you're on a boat. I don't care if you're in your vehicle. You can dictate a note, but take that note and put it in a calendar event in the future, and it will show up in your life when it needs to show up. Because Shoney can call Matt and say, "Matt, we were going to talk about a strategy to build your business, and I'm bringing on an assistant," or whatever it was. And Matt goes, "Wow, Shoney, that's right. We were going to talk about that today." And Shoney can say in his head, "Matt, just want you to know I didn't think about you until this moment when you showed up in my calendar." And that's the beauty of this very, very simple plan. If you'll write it down in a place that you can find it and you can retrieve it later, agree on a follow-up date so that you know that the target date when you have to do, and if there's something work you have to do to prepare for that, you would set that maybe a day early or 2 days early so that you have the background work done so that when you make that next contact, you're there. And the other part of it, the wonderful side of it, is you can, maybe we were having that conversation. And say if I had a conversation with Scarlett and we were talking about her son who's thinking about getting his real estate license. And I would say, "By the way, how's your son doing on his real estate license prep? Did he enroll in school yet?" Because we have actually an opportunity that we can give him a scholarship for real estate school if that would be of interest or something. But Scarlett will be impressed that I even remembered that because that was a month ago when we first had that conversation. And I talked to a few people between now and then, and she knows that. But if I made a note of it, I can just reference that. If someone was sick, if someone was doing well, someone had just graduated, someone just got married, you can ask about those life events and really personalize your conversations because you took notes. And all I did is quickly reference it before I made the dial and all that. Anyway, I believe that's all we have. So thank you again to Elevate Homescriptions for lunch and show us how it's done and have a wonderful day.